Mexico's president is warning the U.S. not to invade our sovereignty in the U.S.'s fight against drug cartels. And federal judges rule the Trump administration can proceed with mass firings of federal workers. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. French President Emmanuel Macron is coming to Washington Monday to meet President Trump. Macron has already gathered European leaders in Paris to discuss next steps for Ukraine as it fights off Russia's attacks. President Trump has falsely blamed Ukraine for starting the war. Next week marks the third anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz says President Trump is irritated with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for not helping bring about a quick end to the war.
President Trump is obviously very frustrated right now with President Zelensky. The fact that he hasn't come to the table, that he hasn't been willing to take this opportunity that we have offered. I think he eventually will get to that point, and I hope so very quickly.
Waltz also criticized Ukraine for insults against President Trump. Trump has described Zelensky as a dictator. Mexico's president is warning the United States against any invasion of its territory. NPR's Ada Peralta reports this comes as the U.S. has designated 6 Mexican cartels as terrorist groups.
The U.S. now considers some of Mexico's biggest organized crime groups terrorists. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said this was a decision the U.S. took unilaterally. She said Mexico, like the U.S., is committed to fighting drug cartels, but through cooperation, not coercion.
Esta no puede ser una oportunidad.
This designation, she said, cannot be used by the U.S. as an opportunity to undermine our sovereignty. Sheinbaum then proposed changes to the Mexican Constitution that explicitly say the Mexican people reject foreign interventions or violation of Mexico's territory by land, sea, or air. President Trump has floated the idea of bombing the Mexican drug cartels. Ada Peralta, NPR News, Mexico City.
A federal judge won't stop the Trump administration from firing thousands of government workers. The judge said he did not have jurisdiction over a lawsuit federal employee unions filed to block it. This comes as Energy Secretary Chris Wright says it was a mistake for the administration to fire more than 100 federal employees. NPR's Jeff Brumfield reports they're responsible for maintaining the nation's nuclear stockpile.
In an interview with Scripps News, Wright said the decision to fire employees at the National Nuclear Security Administration was done in haste.
I probably moved a little too quickly there, and when we made mistakes on layoffs in NNSA, we reversed them immediately, less than 24 hours.
The NNSA maintains the nation's nuclear weapons stockpile and combats nuclear terrorism, among its other duties. The Department of Energy says that, quote, fewer than 50 workers were ultimately terminated at the agency. Jeff Brumfield, NPR News, Washington.
President Trump has celebrated Black History Month while his administration continues to eliminate diversity and equity programs across the federal government. NPR's Franco Ordonez reports on the apparent contradictions.
Standing alongside golf icon Tiger Woods, President Trump announced a new, quote, Garden of American Heroes to be created to honor great Americans, including Black Americans such as Rosa Parks, Aretha Franklin, Frederick Douglass, and Jackie Robinson.
We pay tribute to these heroes and to so many others, but not simply because they're Black heroes, but also because they are truly American heroes who inspire all of us, very much so.
But the celebration comes amid his administration's war on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and policies, calling them discriminatory and contrary to the ideals they espouse. Trump has signed multiple executive orders to that end. Franco Ordonez, NPR News, the White House.
The Israeli military has positively identified the bodies of 2 young boys kidnapped by Hamas when the war started in October 2023. But Israel says the body purported to be their mother is in fact unidentified and not her. NPR's Hadil Al-Shalchi reports questions remain about how they were killed.
The Palestinian militant group Hamas has maintained that Ariel and Kfir Bibas, who were 4 years old and 9 months old at the time of their kidnapping, were killed in an Israeli airstrike on November 2023. But while Israeli officials positively identified the young boys' bodies, they said the children were not killed in an airstrike and instead by their captors. The Israeli military did not specify how they were killed. The military also said the body Hamas claimed to be their mother, Shiri Bibas, was in fact of, quote, an anonymous, unidentified body. Hamas is expected to release 6 live Israeli hostages on Saturday in exchange for more than 600 Palestinian prisoners and detainees held in Israeli jails. Hadil Al-Shalchi, NPR News, Jericho.
You're listening to NPR.